have it all. I can have it all.
Hello, everybody. This is Christy Whitman with the Quantum Success Show, where you can get your information and inspiration to create your desires. And as you can see, I have a friend next to me. This is Richard Gordon. He's actually, I'm just, first of all, so thrilled to have him on the show. Second of all, so thrilled to have the conversation that we're about to have, because he's recognized as one of the pioneers in the field of energy healing. He's been developing new healing techniques that are powerful yet simple and easy to learn, and teaching them in workshops worldwide and making them accessible to everyone in books since the mid-70s. So today, as the founder of the QuantumTouch, you might have heard of QuantumTouch, Richard is an internationally acclaimed speaker at conferences, medical centers, chiropractic colleges, and holistic health institutes. He's been on faculty at the Heartwood Institute and the Holistic Health Institute, and his worldwide QuantumTouch workshops sell out quickly, and his original QuantumTouch video workshop is now available online at QuantumTouch.com. He actively posts videos of amazing QuantumTouch healing stories and demonstrates on YouTube on the QuantumTouch channel. So the topic for today with Richard is the secret nature of matter, and I'm just thrilled to start this conversation. So welcome, Richard.
Oh, Christy, what a great treat to be here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Your energy is just amazing. So,
well, thank you.
I know what energy healing is in my own perception, my own
Sure.
limited capacity of understanding it and what I've received. But I would love to hear from your perspective, what is energy healing and quantum touch?
I'm being attacked. Okay. Energy healing is a way for people to focus this life force energy that flows through us that's been called chi, prana, ki. Dr. Beverly Rubik found 76 words different cultures use to describe this energy. But this energy is the animating current of life. Now, in my work, I discovered a way of using breathing and body awareness. There's no belief, there's no attunement, there's no magic symbols or anything. We just use breathing and body awareness to focus and amplify this energy. And then when you create a field of the energy around the part that hurts, a very complicated technique we call the where does it hurt technique, where you run the energy into the part of the body where the person's experiencing suffering or pain, and then their body intelligence uses that energy to accelerate their own healing process. So we'd like to say the definition of a healer is someone who was sick and got well. And a great healer is someone very sick who got well quickly, because you really don't actually heal other people. They heal themselves. The cells heal themselves. And we facilitate that by raising our vibration. So you lift yourself up. So you're getting a self-healing in the process of doing it. And their body matches or entrains and does its own self-healing. And that's, in its most simplicity, how it works.
Well, I love your definition, because that's how I feel too. And I do healings on myself. Like if all of a sudden I have a knee ache, I just go ahead and put all the energy in there, and then my knee doesn't hurt anymore. So, because my knee and all the cells in my knee know what to do to make it be back in alignment. So there's not that tension or pain that I'm perceiving as pain.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So how did you discover an intersection of consciousness and matter? I know you were excited to tell me about this, because you were saying—
I would not have believed it just 18 months ago. It was Thanksgiving of 2016, 16, yeah. No,
15.
15, yeah. I'm not good with the numbers. And my friend Daniel at the party says, I found out that if you make a video of yourself doing a healing session, other people watching the video can get the healing. I thought, no way. So I tested it. Now, the way I tested it was in my last book, before this new one, The Secret Nature of Matter, what I did was I had a chapter way toward the end of the book called Visible Magic. And what that means is there's a bone behind the nose and eyes called the sphenoid bone. And if I meditated on the sphenoid bone and put a certain thought form with enough energy, all of a sudden the cranial bones would untwist and the hips would untwist. And it's really measurable. You see the hips like this before, and then a few seconds later they're like that. And I guess it worked, because there's no physiological mechanism where a person, while they're standing, is capable of untwisting their hips spontaneously and completely. And then the cranial bones, Wikipedia is going to tell you, or Grey's Anatomy, that they're fused once you're an adult. They don't move at all. And yet I created that's another story, but I have video of people just blown away because I'm having them touch the base of the occipital ridge and lifting up on the bone. And I'll have tested them first and say, can you feel which side is high? And say, oh, my right side or my left side is very high. And I said, yeah, just feel it for sure. And you're absolutely certain that's true. Yes, completely sure. Then I'll just touch them with a charged object, like our little pendant. We've got that's a charged and entangled object. It's another story. But I'll just touch them with it for a split second. On the elbow, the arm, the hair, it doesn't matter. Instantly, I'll say, lift your thumbs and put them back. And people break out laughing, going, how is this possible?
Wow.
How the bones in my head suddenly change and the hips are, and this is a permanent alignment. So when my friend told me that, I started testing it. And I first tested video and that worked. And then I tested screenshots and that worked. And I ran 58 separate experiments to understand the intersection of consciousness and matter. And what I found out was that all matter holds consciousness equally, whether it's wood, plastic, rubber, metal, old cigarette butts. It doesn't even matter what it is. And the conclusion, of course, is that all matter is made of subatomic God stuff. Everything is made of God stuff. That's a very technical term, by the way. God stuff. It's used in all kinds of scientific circles.
I love it.
And then when you realize that all matter holds it, then I started looking to see, what can you do to erase a program? And then what happens if you do this? By the time I got to experiment 38 that I documented in my book, I made a monumental discovery. I found out that there's such a thing as conscious entanglement, that you can group objects together in your mind, and just like quantum entanglement, anything that happens to one object, however far away in the universe, instantly happens to the other. If I group a bunch of, in this case, pendants, we group the pendant together, and then people run their energy into it, and all the positive healing energy that people put into their pendant is in all the pendants simultaneously. And I have been astounded that this is actually working and successful.
Can I ask a question? How did you measure that?
Oh yeah, I use the little trick about meditating on a sphenoid bone and measure the occiput and the hips. So one of my early experiments, my friend Paul has a massage chair at a Whole Foods. And so I handed him a quarter that was charged with energy intent. I'd measure some clients of his and say, oh, look, the right hip is really high in the back. And so then I'd walk around the corner, and he'd either hand them the quarter or not hand them the quarter. And I'd come back 30 seconds later and try to guess. And I'm correct every single time.
Wow.
That I said, nope, you didn't. The hip is still out. Yes, you did. The hip is in. And I'd know instantly. It'd take 1 second to look and say yes or no. I got an answer to the question. So I empirically tested this stuff over and over and over again. I ran many experiments of the 58, dozens and dozens of times, because I wanted to be absolutely certain of my observations. In conscious entanglement, I'd have other people entangling objects, and the way I found conscious entanglement the first time, there were these two women at a conference, and I meditated on a handful of change, and then I put the change on a table, handed each of the women one of the coins, and I'd already measured them. They were both very out of alignment. I reached in my pocket, pulled out a charged coin, touched one of the uncharged coins, and both women were instantly untwisted. Because they're,
me.
I'm telling you, this is a level of magic that is so incredibly robust. It worked virtually every single time. And I have shown this to scientists who literally run away when I show it to them. Because one guy said to me, if I let myself believe this just happened, everything I know about science would fall like a house of cards. And I said, do you consider yourself an empirical scientist or a faith-based? Well, empirical, of course. I said, well, then why don't we let the cards fall where they will? Let me show you do this 8 or 10 more times and see if I'm using, and he says, if I let myself believe this just happened, everything I know about science would fall like a house of cards. I said, well, what do you say I show you? He goes, not today. And he walks away.
Wow.
And I've had people run away from a simple demonstration of two things that are considered impossible. Now, obviously, most people aren't very excited about untwisting cranial bones and the hip bones, although it has a lot of physiological benefits for people.
I would imagine.
It has a lot. And then I've made some videos. If you look up QuantumTouch pendant demo on YouTube, there's a couple of videos they put up. And some people found the neck pain or the back pain or some different problems they had spontaneously cleared up, or they could turn their head to the side. But that's the least of the story. The story isn't about all the healing. The story is that our love actually has impact. Our love is more valuable than we know. Mm. And when you think about who hurt you the most in your life, and what was the subtext of their cruelty, it was that your love wasn't valuable. It's that your love didn't have any impact. It didn't matter. That's what the message was in all the horrible behavior that people give one another. And what we're showing through this is your love has tremendous impact, more than we know. Your love is really valuable. It's the most valuable thing that we have. It's what we are. We're made of the fabric. And the implications of all this are everything. You can't prove that we're spiritual beings. You can't prove it, but I've got like 40 different implications of this that all point to one place, that we're spiritual beings. And so it's a very decisive way of showing that our love really does matter and have an impact on the world.
Well, let me ask you this. Can someone duplicate your experiments?
Yeah, people have already been doing it. And we have already done a double-blind experiment, a preliminary one, and we were very successful. We were measuring people's hips using a laser measuring device that measures the distance to the floor from the top of the hip. And I've been in touch with Dr. Dean Radin from Noetic Science and Gary Schwartz from the University of Arizona. And they saw the initial experiment where our margin of error was about 2.5 millimeters of measuring hips. But when people moved, they moved about 11 millimeters. And that was very dramatic. We're going to do it again with much tighter controls, with a much larger group of people. And then Dean Radin and Gary Schwartz are going to want to replicate the experiment and make it fail. And if they fail at failing, then they'll move forward with this. But right now, this is so out there. They're both thinking, well, we've got to be skeptical about this. They're open-minded, but very skeptical, because who's this guy making these outlandish claims? But this is people who have picked up my new book are actually able to replicate it. Now, the biggest trouble people have is not on actually doing the meditation that causes the shift to happen. The biggest problem they have is learning how to measure properly. And so if you're not good at measuring, you may not be able to see very clearly. But if you look around for a lot of people, you'll find some people who are really easy to measure. You put your hands on the hips and they just stop, and they're obviously out of alignment. And you meditate on the sphenoid bone, as I teach in the book, or put it into a physical object and then touch them with the object, it'll work.
Well, it does make sense to me. It's almost because it's what I teach, in the sense of teaching, quantum success and working with the universal laws and everything. But you're now a person that can quantify this and actually show it and have the, there is that we say the way best we could describe it is it's physics. How we manifest things. It's like if you visualize something and you put your energy on it, it's actual physics that's happening. And I love that you're touching that, the highest vibrations in the universe obviously is love. And it's truly what most of us seek and want. And we kind of have a skewed vision of what that is, and in definition, and of how we've been organized within our own self and in our own lives. But the pure essence of love, whenever I have put love into anything, beautiful things have manifested. And whenever I've receded my love or taken away my love, those things fall away. So it makes sense that, love is really all there is.
It's that foundational energetic. And there's videos all over the internet showing animals that would normally never receive any affection. You know, a rhinoceros or a tortoise or something, an eel in the ocean. And for thousands of generations, they've never had anybody loving them or stroking them or adoring them. And they instantly melt and become pussycats. And so what it shows us is that this frequency of vibration of love and is universal. And the evolution of consciousness is compassion. That the animals that we love and respect the most, the dolphins and the cats and dogs and the horses and the bonobos and so forth, all these are capable of expressing compassion, which means they're aware of the suffering of another and they want to do something to alleviate that suffering. You see elephants doing that. Even rats have shown some level of compassion, and a few politicians. Well, it's evolution of species. You know, you go from rat up to maybe politician, or maybe it goes the other way. I'm not sure, but
that's funny. Well, Richard, I'm appreciative of you being here and just opening up this conversation. I know you have a webinar coming up on June 5th at 10 a.m. Is that Eastern time or Pacific time?
It's Pacific time.
Pacific time.
That's going to be a free webinar as a gift to anybody who's on this call.
Awesome. So it's 10 o'clock Pacific time, so that'd be 1 o'clock Eastern time. The link for the video, to register for the free webinar, which is called The Secret Nature of Matter, is below the video, so you could just click on it. Will there be a replay if they happen to miss the June 5th?
I'll have to check on that. I'm not really much into the technical things, but we do have another gift for people.
Awesome.
And that is, if they go to thesecretnatureofmatter.com, we've got a special deal going on that if people buy the book or 2 copies of the book, they'll actually get a free download of our classic QuantumTouch video workshop, which we sell for $97. And we're going to give it away for free if they buy the book.
Nice.
If they buy 2 copies, we're going to give them their choice of the art of youthing, which is how to slow, stop, or reverse aging. And by the way, I turn 70 next year.
No way.
Well, it's about slowing down the inflammation processes and doing the good things that are good for you. And so if people go to thesecretnatureofmatter.com, they can get these deals that are temporarily available. And I recommend, if you do watch the video, the classic QuantumTouch video, you don't watch it alone, you watch it with friends, because you'll never know how good it is unless you actually practice on another person and see the miracles happening. Because you're just going to feel good, like, oh, my body feels great doing this, but so what? But when you actually see the miracles that happen when you work on another person, that's when you know it's for real and it's spectacular.
Beautiful. All right, so go below the video for the free webinar, or go to The Secret Nature of Matter. And if you purchase one of the 2 books, you get this free workshop, yes, which is a $97 value. So thank you, Richard. I'm looking forward to actually being on the webinar myself and learning more and expanding in that capacity. So I appreciate you being on the show today.
Well, I appreciate you so much. You're doing such good work.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, family, leave me a comment. Let us know what you're taking away from this. What just shifted for you? Just even being in the realm of the energy, I could feel it, just having this interaction. It's not even sometimes the words that we say, but it's the getting into the field, in that quantum field, and being able to watch this and raising up to a different energy, if that's what you're open to. So I definitely feel the energy with Richard and his consciousness. So let me know if you're feeling the same thing or what you're taking away. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Bye. Thanks for watching, and here is a related video to watch right now. Also, check out my free webinars on creating whatever you want in your life using the universal laws that I explain in each webinar. So share your thoughts by leaving a comment and continue the conversation at ChristyWhitman.com.